Go ahead and open up your notebooks. Today we're going to talk about lesson 6, which is how do we do more wondering? How do we wonder more about our characters instead of having one viewpoint of who we think they are? So before we start writing anything down, what I want you to do right now is think about everything that you can do with a brick. Okay, brainstorm on a scratch sheet of paper as many things that you can come up with. You have 1 minute. Go. Perfect. I'm going to have you stop. Go ahead and share with your person next to you your top 3 things that you can do to come up with a brick. All right, come back together, please. You guys did a really good job. Here's the thing, though. I asked you that question because it's a classic question, a question that is a game builder to deeper thinking. A term people sometimes use for this kind of thinking is tentative thinking or divergent thinking. Okay. There's a lot of research out there and in a lot of different fields about how to deepen your thinking, how to make you go deeper than you normally do when you're doing thinking. Doctors are also wondering this. How do you deepen your thinking about your patients if you have them? Companies are trying out methods to get their employees to think differently about their jobs. One of the things that all of these people have found is that wondering, not being sure, or trying out, like, well, maybe, or trying out, like, well, if this happened, what would happen next? Doing these types of thinking and questioning, asking more questions is really powerful and it changes the way that our critical thinking works. It's really powerful. The cool thing is that as readers, we can do those things too, and we should be doing those things to think differently about our characters. So today what I want to teach you is that experienced readers of dystopian novels realize that these novels are full of surprises. Things reveal themselves more slowly in these novels, which means that readers of this genre need to prolong their willingness to be uncertain and their openness to try new thinking. So, the trick to wondering more is to remember that that's your goal. Your goal in reading is to continue to question, to think deeply, to wonder more. Sometimes being unsure feels like a weakness, like maybe it makes us feel like we don't know what we're reading about or that we don't understand what's going on. But having a goal around uncertainty is a really good strength. I like to try to set new goals like maybe I'll try to do this, or maybe I'll try to ask why 5 times. Like, why is this happening? Why isn't this character breaking up with this character? Why does this character continue to trust, even though it seems like it's kind of a sketchy deal? Um, Maybe if I'm being really ambitious, I try to question myself even more and stop and do that thinking every so often. So we're going to try this with ponies. There's a lot of things I've wondered for sure, and I've done some of this thinking out loud with you guys already because that's how I think about stories. I question all the time. We've been doing a lot of thinking about character archetypes, and so what I could do is challenge myself to be uncertain about them. I want you guys to watch me try this. Originally, when we were thinking about Top Girl as an archetype, we nailed her as like a villain. That was our strongest point. But we also came up with some other things. However, I saw Top Girl as a mean, overpowering leader. That's how I saw her at first. But if I stop and think, Maybe she's not a dictator, but instead, maybe she's just as trapped as Barbara into being this way. Or maybe she's like a robot or something. That seems boring. Um, Kind of silly, but maybe right now she's playing a different role. Like maybe she's a positive leader. I think I talked about with you guys a little bit like maybe she has to play this role and it actually is positive for the society that the ponies go to these cutting out parties. So maybe she's doing a really good thing and it's not villainous at all. Maybe in this society there's a lot of really bad things that happen and so in order to keep everything in line, the rules have to be really rigid. That could sound positive or negative depending on the way that we take that. Okay. Um, yeah, maybe there's some reason why the ponies have to have their wings and horns and voices taken. Maybe Top Girl's just doing her job. So there's lots of ways that I could wonder. I could continue to push myself and come up with probably even more babies for Top Girl. You guys see how that worked? That I got up to like three maybes. Um, and I want you guys to think about how you could do that same type of thing with your own stories. So I could have a whole bunch of new ideas as I continue to read to see if I can find out maybe why Top Girl's actually doing the things that she's doing. So now I want you to try this out. If I went too fast and you guys didn't get all of the pink copy down, it is on Google Classroom, so you can finish copying your notes there. I want you guys to find your partner and I want you to flip back through your notebook and I want you to find one place where you jotted down something that seemed important. And I want you to think about what kind of wondering can you do around that. And I want you to share that with your partner. So find your partner and discuss with them some maybes you have. And I want you to take 1 minute each to share. Now that you're done sharing, here's what I would like you to do. I want you to continue to think about how can you question your story and what types of maybes can you come up with? Why are characters doing something? Why are people the way that they are in your story? Was it something that led them there in the first place that makes them act and behave the way that they do? Is the government really as bad as it seems? Maybe. I don't know. You guys do the questioning. So, one thing that I want you guys to do before you go off to read is I want you to do some of those pieces of thinking. I want you to stop and jot in your notebooks. So as you're going today, be interacting with your notebook. When you think about something, stop and jot it down. You might even find yourself wanting to go back to earlier places or earlier jots in your notebook and do some quick revision. Revision is totally okay to do. There are post-it notes on the bookshelf if you want to find some post-it notes and do some revision that way. No matter what, I want you thinking about archetypes, systemic problems, so those rules, societal and political things that government's doing, and I want you to do more wondering. So here's the example that I went through with you guys today. And then lastly, here's an idea for your homework. You can stop and jot any way that you want, or you may copy something down like this. Jot an original thought you have about a character, and now question it. Come up with a minimum of 3 maybes. Why is that happening? Once you've finished writing down your homework, you should find your book and find a spot to read in the room where you're going to be successful. Take your notebooks with you, and you have a half hour.